Hello folks, Scott here with a how-to today on making my face mask card that I created with the Love from Lizi April 2020 card kit. Well, New York has instituted a face masks in public rule. So anytime you go out and if you cannot maintain 6 feet of distance from people, you must wear a face mask. And I've had a number of people asking about a how-to for this card. What finally got me to put this on video was I have a dear friend in New Mexico, Judy Noffice, and she crafts with some friends of hers about once a week, as often as they can. And since the lockdown, they've been meeting online and they've been doing their little Google Duo crafting time together. They invited me to join them this last Friday, so we all spent an hour or so together working on these face mask cards. Of course, with my original card, I fussed and fiddled with this. I had no patterns. It took me way too much time. But working with the New Mexico crafters was a thrill, and it gave us the opportunity to kind of simplify and make this an easy card for anyone. I want to make a big shout out to Judy Noffice and her friends Heather, Jen, Dee Dee, and Mary. Thank you so much. I had a great time with you guys on Friday. It's because of you that this video is coming out. So our face mask card, your laughter is contagious. I actually went in and created a diagram for this. So your face mask actually starts with a 2 3/4 inches by 2 1/8 inch piece of cardstock. Now I'm using pattern paper. This is pattern paper from Sizzix. This is their Geometrics 12 by 6 inch paper pad. I really like this pad. I love all of the geometrics. I decided to go with this nice blue pattern paper for our mask. That is 2 3/4 inches wide by 2 1/8 inches tall. This is our scoring pattern. This is where we score it to make those pleats in our mask. And you can see here we've got a mountain fold and a valley fold, a mountain fold and a valley fold, a mountain fold and a valley fold. Mountain means you fold it back, a valley fold means you fold it forward. I have a good old-fashioned Martha Stewart scoreboard. I love this scoreboard because it's so big. So we're going to turn our pattern paper long ways, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch, 5/8 of an inch, 1 inch, 1 1/8 inch, 1 1/2 inches, and 1 5/8 inches. So if you want to be really anal about it, which I of course love to do, you can score different sides of your pattern paper depending on where it's going to fold. So for the mountain folds, I want the mountain folds on the top. This is going to be the top of my mask. So we'll do our first 3 lines on this side of the cardstock. So we'll score at 1/2 inch, just a couple of times lightly, then we'll score at 1 inch, and then we'll score at 1.5 inches. Pay attention, Scott. Then we're going to flip it over to the other side, and we're going to score the other 3 score marks so that the paper folds in the correct direction. So our next one is 5/8 of an inch. That's just past 1/4. There we go. 5/8 of an inch, 1 1/8 of an inch, and then 1 5/8 of an inch. So now we have our 6 score lines going front and back. Can you see those there? There you can. You can see those. So on the front side, our top line folds to the back. That's a mountain fold. Our third line folds to the back. That's another mountain fold. And then our 5th line folds to the back. That's another mountain fold. So those were all on the front. Then we'll go to the back side and fold the other ones forward, but they'll be valley folds from the front. So those are making our 3 pleats. You should have a nice zigzag fold once you've folded all those together. We want a nice zigzag fold. When those lay flat, you've got your little mask going there. So let's reinforce all of these creases with our bone folder. And from the back side as well. And fold all our little pleats in. There's our 3 little pleats. Now we need to stick them all together. Here's your dimensions one more time if you want to freeze frame right there and copy those down. Now, if you're making a face mask out of material, you would just sew those pleats down. But this is paper, so I'm not going to sew it. But I am going to use score tape. Now, what I've done is I've taken and made a couple of score strip strips. This is score tape on a piece of white cardstock. This is 1/4 inch. This is 1/8 inch score tape. This is real easy to do. I really like doing this. You can take a piece of cardstock, take your score tape. This is my 1/4 inch score tape here. And lay that along one straight edge. Just like that. Now you can take your scissors and trim that out, but I found that it's really easy to cut this if you have a guillotine cutter. So instead of cutting this from the top, I'm going to flip this over and butt the edge of that score tape against the edge of the blade. Because the score tape is facing down, that edge will catch on the edge of your cutting blade. So just push that over until you feel it right up against your cutting blade, chop it off, and there you've got a perfect piece of score tape cardstock. I made some nice long pieces to get us started here. So we're going to go to the back of our mask, and we're going to score tape the 2 sides. Now remember, this score tape has white cardstock on the back of it already. Trim the top of that down where there's no tape. And we're going to go right up to the edge and glue all those pleats down with our score tape. Make sure they're nice and tight together. Trim off your excess. Let's do the other side. I like starting at the top and making sure that you pull all your pleats nice and tight together, or you'll end up with a mask that's whiter on one side than the other. Just put your tape down on your top flap, pull everything tight together, and lay your score tape down. Got a little extra there because I tore it instead of cutting it, and I will take my bone folder and really burnish those down. Nice and tight. Now we want to do the same on the front because the front of our pleats are still popping up. So I'm going to use my 1/8 inch score tape strips for the front. Peel back my liner paper, and again going from the top to the bottom, just right along the edge. You want to be a little more precise with this one since it's actually the trim on the side of your mask. Trim off the excess. Then do the same thing on the other side. Start from the top. Lay across all of those pleats. Trim off your excess. And then we're going to burnish those down as well. Go ahead and push that into your little pleat areas. You want these to hold really well. If your pleats open up when you're trying to open up your mask, that is not a good thing. So that's basically our mask. I will take a couple of thin little strips of white cardstock that I cut. These are probably 1/16 of an inch thick. I will use my liquid glue just to apply a little bit of glue on the edge of these little strips. Pick up some of the excess. And then we're just going to lay those on the top and bottom edge. I cut these a little long so we can trim those off right where they meet the side trim. And lay those down matching the edge of your pattern paper there. There we go. Again, these don't have to be perfect. Everybody's making their own masks these days. So I see so many patterns and colors and different styles of masks out on the streets these days. I think everybody is taking the governor's orders to wear masks in public very seriously. And then on the top, we're going to lay our other little thin strip of white cardstock there. Got plenty of time to play with it since we're using liquid glue. There we go. Make sure that matches up your edges. We'll let that dry for a little bit of time, and while it's drying, we'll add our ribbon ties on the side. Now this is just 1/8" satin ribbon, just some white satin ribbon. Of course, you could make your trim out of any color you like, any color of trim that matches what color ribbon you have. We're just going to use glue dots for these. These are the little itty bitty 3/16" glue dots. I'm going to put a glue dot in each corner. There's one. There's two. I love these on the little sheets because you can see exactly where that glue dot is and put it exactly where you want it. Then we'll take one of our ribbons. I cut these ribbons to 2 3/4 inches long, so that's 2 3/4 inches long. Put one in your glue dot, flip it over, and put the other end on your other glue dot. There's one loopy to go along with this loopy. And here we've got 2 more glue dots. You can see those glue dots on that paper. One in the top corner, one in the bottom corner. I was never a big fan of glue dots before this, but I tell you, since I've been working with that Lawn Fawn Magic Iris die, I have learned the value of these 3/16" glue dots. We'll do the same. Place our 2 3/4" ribbon on one dot and then on the other dot. Now we are ready to open this mask up. And all you have to do is open up those pleats in the center, and there you're getting a mask. Now once you start putting this onto a card, it's going to collapse. So the ladies helped me come up with this idea to help the mask stay open on a card. So I'm going to take a 2" piece of this score tape cardstock. We'll cut that just a little shy of 2 inches. And we'll say the middle of this is about right there. So we're going to take our cardstock strip, peel back the liner paper from your score tape, and we're going to tape those pleats open right in the middle. So open those babies up. Start from the top, put it right in the center. This is score tape now. And then as you go down, open up those pleats, press it right up against the back of your mask, and voila. Your mask is open. It will stay open. It's that little spine is the big revelation that the girls in New Mexico were able to give me just to make this easy. On my very first card, I didn't think of that. I actually put a wad of paper behind the face mask just to keep it open. So let's go ahead and finish this card. Now, my original card, I did this fun little "Your Laughter is Contagious," but Always Marie over on Instagram gave me a great idea for a different sentiment. So we're going to do a "Miss Your Face" sentiment with our little mask right there. That is so appropriate now. I miss your face because it's always behind a face mask. So this is my Silhouette software. I created this little print in my Silhouette software. I printed it up And this is what they gave me. This is using the Gill Sans Ultra Bold font and the Mistral font. I cut a piece of pattern paper. This is 3 3/4 by 5 inches tall. This is with a Lawn Fawn stitched rectangle die. And when you print that out on your silhouette, it'll give you the box around it. That box is 3 3/4 by 5 inches. That means our paper will fit right inside that box. So this is my little piggyback printing method that I use. And I just tape my cardstock over the space where it belongs on the paper. My printer has no problem taking in paper, but it doesn't always like to take in cardstock. But I find if I tape cardstock to my paper, then it almost never has a problem going through my printer. I have a simple Canon MX922, a Canon Pixma MX922. I'm going to put this in my printer in the correct orientation. I'll go back to my Silhouette software and erase the square around the sentiment and print it again. And barring any unforeseen circumstances, it will print perfectly on my pattern paper exactly where I want it. Let's see where it comes out. And there we have it, fresh out of the printer with my sentiment exactly where I want it. This will peel up from your typing paper, peel off from your purple tape, and there you have a nice sentiment perfectly printed on your card front. We'll put this on our card base. Use my ATG gun. I love my ATG gun. I have a card base already prepared over here. This is a white card base. This is a Nina Solar White 110-pound card base. I did put a thin black mat on it and a thin white mat cut to size. Our little pattern paper will fit inside of those masks. There's our card front. To attach our mask to this card, I'm going to revert to those glue dots again. Perfect, perfect, extra strong, extra nice. I'm going to pull all 4 of these up. Again, we'll put them in the 4 corners. 1, 2, right over those ribbons. A little outside there. 3 and 4. 4 little glue dots in the 4 corners will hold this mask securely to your card. Again, your pleats are generally supposed to be pointed down, but I don't think it really matters a lot. Decide where exactly you want your face mask to be. There you go. So those ribbons are just inside the card. Miss your face and push down those 4 corners. There you go. It's perfectly attached to your card. It's not going to go anywhere. These would be great for handing out. They will mail quite well in these My Sweet Petunia card boxes. Actually fits in these quite nicely. Actually, quite perfectly, if you'd like to mail these to anybody. Not too tall for these great little My Sweet Petunia card boxes. Miss your face. Your laughter is contagious. I've been making a number of these over the last few days. I have some good friends whose parents and or dear friends are nurses and doctors in hospitals, so those are all getting sent off to them. I miss your face. Your laughter is contagious. Either one of those works. I'm sure there are even more and more sentiments that would work with this card. I really like this one. It's got little pineapples on the face mask. Thank you so much for joining me, folks. I hope you are all staying safe and well in quarantine, wherever you may be. I miss your face. I hope you're able to spend some of your stay-at-home time in the craft room. Please remember to like me, list me, pin me, post me, share me with all of your friends. Remember, don't touch your face. And as always, I wish you happy crafting.